Okay guys, for the strength training component of the program, and when I say strength, I don't only mean weightlifting or resistance training. Anything that falls into the calisthenics or the conditioning domain, I consider it a part of strength and conditioning. Okay, these are the same thing, rather synonymous. For this, everybody knows the exercises more or less, and with that, you're going to have a protocol to follow. You'll have videos, you'll have a few samples. And a lot of people focus on just getting through. They focus on the quantity, the volume, getting through the workout as such. But very few people focus on the quality of the exercises, okay? And it is absolutely possible that two people go through the same program. One realizes extreme body transformation and the other person realizes nothing, simply because their technique is wrong or the quality of their performance is wrong, okay? We're going to talk about a couple basic principles. The first is time under tension. Okay? This is essentially the idea that the longer that the muscle is exerting force or contracting against a resistance, the more damage, the more energy we're going to draw out of it, the more we're going to exhaust the muscle, the more we're going to probably tear and carve up that muscle, which will elicit an adaptation and growth after the fact. But within that, it's important to recognize that that means that the muscle needs to be working continuously. And a couple ways that people cheat that. The first is by establishing momentum within a movement, okay? So if I'm doing a curl, you'll see this at the gym all the time. You'll see guys, and I've done 0 lifts, okay? My body is turning, I'm throwing the weight, and my bicep hasn't done any of the work, okay? I'm just heaving it up. The only time that I'm actually working is the bottom part of the lift. And then my muscle is relaxing as the momentum carries it to the top. Okay, this is useless, and this is how most people approach training that haven't had some kind of formal instruction. So beware of this type of training. It's not about how much you're doing. It is better to fail with good form than it is to complete a very big number with crap form, okay? Now, the way to establish quality is, again, we want to look at our biomechanical frame. Look for symmetry in the body. This will generally tell you if your form is okay. We discussed this in the flexibility component. But in general, I'll be working with, well, in weightlessness, we would look at 5 vectors. Okay, and this is a way to look at it. It's very simple. I push, I pull, I squat, I press, and I twist. Contracting this way is also in the twist category. But these are the 5 vectors of power. Okay. I really only need 1 or 2 exercises in each vector to have complete total body strength and balance. Okay, it doesn't require a lot of stuff, but the quality of the movement needs to be there. Okay, so how should you lift? And this is the same with all of the exercises that we'll be doing. You actually won't be curling very much, but I'll just use this as a demonstration here. Okay, the body is locked in, tight, the abs are tight, and as I rotate in, my muscles are under constant tension. I'm not moving quickly through the movement, okay? The faster that I move, the more momentum I establish. The more momentum I establish, the less time under tension occurs, okay? So you don't have to move super slow, but you need to be conscious of how quickly you're moving and if that speed is taking pressure out of the exercise. We want to be stressed. Stress is what causes adaptation, okay? The second point has to do with leverage, okay? So in this particular exercise, my muscle and the tendons that connect the muscle to the bone are at their shortest point at about a 90-degree bend, okay? What that means is that I am capable of lifting the most weight in this range of movement. Now, what this also means is that the farther that I move away from my strongest range of motion, obviously, the weaker I am, okay? And that's going to occur near full extension. As the tendons are the longest, the bicep starts to extend itself, and the arm is near straight. Now the way that we fix this, again, get back to time under tension, is that when we start to look at range, we cheat a little bit. We don't fully lock out the joint, which if you're moving too quickly, again, this can cause a lot of damage. We get to a point where the muscle covers most of its range, but it still retains that tension to a certain extent before we start to contract again. And this can be applied on every exercise that you guys do. Now again, getting back to weightlessness foundations, we've got 5 vectors of movement: a push, a pull, a squat, a press, and a twist. You guys will be focusing most of it through calisthenics on a push and a squat. The twist will be thrown in, a little bit of the shoulder work and a little bit of the back work will be thrown in. But the big two are the push and the squat. It's the same way if we talk about nutrition, that your biggest priorities are to get vegetables and to get a healthy source of protein, meat, fish, or eggs. And the push and the squat are similar. These are your sustenance, this is your nourishment. If you are not pushing and you're not squatting, you absolutely are not training. It doesn't matter what else you're doing, you might get fit, but you're getting lucky, okay? These are how you manufacture success in the fitness game, and you have to always be aware of them. People hate this, and in the past I've had clients who've gone on vacation, and in the studio we might cover a wide range of exercises and techniques after the basics are covered, but when people travel they think, oh, I need to maintain. Almost everybody screws up when they travel. All programs get broken, nobody maintains their diet, and I've worked with elite types of clients. Everybody screws up. But despite that, they'll ask, what can I do when I'm on holiday? And I try to give them the most basic premise, your squats and your push-ups. Nobody wants to hear this, but they are the most important and the most fundamental. If you could only do those two, you can take care of 80 to 90% of your needs with just those two, okay? There is a reason that the history of martial arts and the military combat conditioning and these things, they focus on only a few exercises. You've got your push-ups, you've got your squats or deadlift, you've got pull-ups, and then you run, okay? Those cover the bulk of what the human body needs to perform at its peak. These people have to survive in combat with that type of conditioning. That should add a lot of insight into what our bodies need actually to be fighting fit, yeah? So we're going to look at the squat. The few most important key points. Ideally, your feet point straight ahead, okay? But it's possible that some of you might have a little bit of tension throughout the outside of the thighs and that getting to a full depth in the squat is a little bit difficult. For those people, it's okay to have a slight point outward, but you need to make sure that as you squat, the knees track in line with the toes, okay? Some people make this mistake where the knees buckle a little bit or they roll to the outside edges of the feet. These are massive imbalances that you need to correct slowly by doing the exercise slower than normal until you activate full range, until you relax into it. Second pointer, okay, I shouldn't bend over here. I'm removing all the resistance from my legs doing the work. I want to try to stay upright with the arms crossed, and I sit back as if in a chair away from my feet, okay? I need to be careful about my weight coming onto my toes. This is not a squat. I keep my weight back on my heels. I sit back behind myself until I'm at a 90 degree or deeper, and then I extend all the way up. Now, the squat is crucial, okay? I can't count the number of clients that I've had that come in that have running backgrounds or that have damaged knees, and we have corrected these types of imbalances and pain in the knees, pain in the hips, with only squatting for a couple of weeks, because they just couldn't do that right. If you don't have the strength and stability throughout the quadriceps, the hamstrings, and the glutes, the knees are going to take the brunt of it, the hips are going to take the brunt of it, and a lot of people get injured doing things that are monotonous or aerobic because they don't have enough strength to stabilize the joints. Squats is the single best exercise that can cover that for you, okay? So again, as we talk about in the stretching component, the tailbone again needs to be untucked, okay? So some guys will do this where the back gets down, it's horrible looking from the outside, it's horrible feeling from the inside, but what you need to do is stick the butt back, keep the back very straight, elbows up, which helps, and then extend, okay? If the hands drop, if the elbows drop, if the eyes drop, the body will follow and you'll round out the back. Eyes should stay up, elbows should stay up. This will help you keep the shoulders back and the back straight, okay? I'm not going into all this detail just so that you understand how to squat. These are fundamental principles of movement that if you understand the squat, if you understand the push, you will understand almost every other exercise that you're going to be practicing. It is all about biomechanics, okay? These principles carry over to everything. So I hope it's not too mundane or straightforward. We have to master these basic skills. Okay, next we're going to look at the lunge. The lunge I also put in the same category as the squat. It's as fundamental and as important, and it hits the lower body in a slightly different way. With this, we look at how we would stand naturally, feet directly below the hips, hands on the hips. As I step, I take a long step here. which would be beyond where my knee is, okay? And my back knee now drops straight down. I don't touch the ground, and I kick back up from the front foot, pushing with the heel here. Now, the mistakes that everybody makes, they'll step too narrow, and the heel will start to come up, and the knee will pass in front of the toes. This is a great way to damage the knee, okay? You need to step long enough so the front foot stays flat, and as you squat, your weight should remain on the heel of the front foot. As you push, you're kicking from the heel. Ladies especially, if you care about tightening and toning this part of the body, this comes from doing lunges the proper way. Okay, if you kick back from the ball of the foot the way you shouldn't, it's only going to emphasize the front of the thigh, and you're probably going to hurt your knees in the process. So squatting properly is crucial. So those key points: natural stance. I don't cross my line. Okay, you can even see on the floor there's a line here. I step straight in line with the hip, drop straight down, kick all the way back up. Okay. Also, back stays straight as usual. I'm not rounding the back. Posture stays straight. Eyes stay up. Always maintain a good, strong posture. That'll carry through into not only your structure, but into your confidence and how you project that at all times. Never let the body and the frame get weak as you're training. If you have to, take a short break before you continue. Okay, so we've covered the squat, and within that, the lunge, which is also in the squat category. And next, we're going to look at the push. In all my years of coaching, this is by far the single most difficult exercise and vector to teach. I don't particularly know why, but the same mistakes crop up and everybody misses the same key points. The most foundational point that you guys need to keep in mind is that when you are pushing, the power line for the body and the chest is where the nipples lie. Okay, so it's at the bottom part of the chest. Almost everybody pushes from where the shoulders are. The higher that the hands go, this brings all the stress up into the shoulder joint. These don't grow, they just break down, okay? If you can lower the hands a little bit, okay, you can even look at the difference in structure. The higher the hands go, for most people, the shoulders start to shrug, the traps become tense and create tension in the neck. My chest is no longer engaged, and the tricep, deltoid, and trap kind of complex takes over this movement. If, on the other hand, I can lower the hands, drop the shoulders, now I'm able to engage the chest, the triceps, and a little bit of the anterior deltoids, which is what creates all the power for a big push. Okay? These are the muscles that grow. They're some of the biggest muscles in the body. I don't say that to the ladies, that these are going to get big. They will burn calories. They will make you lean, and they will give you the tone that you want if you do them right. If the hands are too high, this all goes away. Okay? So I don't suggest doing this for very long, but to get the measure for this exercise in the beginning, it's okay to lay on the ground to do so. Okay, so for those who can lay fully on, do a full push-up. We'll measure at the lower part of the chest, and I'll press from here. Okay, we'll come down to about an inch from the ground and push back up. Okay, for those who can't do full push-ups on the feet, we'll do them on the knees. The measure is the same. Measure the center of your palm, the lower part of the chest. You can push your hips back and up if you're not strong enough to push from the ground. But then we lower the hips again, pull the shoulders back, engage the chest, and I tighten the triceps and the chest to push myself back up. We don't just lower the shoulders and keep the butt in place. This only works a little bit of the shoulders and the arms. The whole body has to move, okay? So it's not here, it's whole body up and down. If you notice my hands, the middle finger, the fingers are spread to give me a good base. The middle finger is pointed straight ahead. If these start to round out, again, it takes the pressure off the chest, it puts it up into the triceps, the shoulders, and the back. That's not what we want. Middle fingers have to remain straight. Hands should be a little bit wider than the chest, and make sure that your alignment is such that it covers the bottom part of the chest for the push. The pacing on these, we've already discussed. It should be continuous. I don't fully lock out at the top. I come close, okay? So it's not here every time with a hard lock. It's there, okay? So I'm keeping that slight bend in the elbows at the top. That keeps the muscles tense, and that accommodates our need for time under tension for that exercise. In the beginning, to do them right, you may only be able to do a few, okay? But work up, get the full range to the ground, push up, and keep a slight bend. If you are struggling for knee push-ups for the full range, it's okay to work half range, okay? But constantly try to get lower, work for a larger range of motion, and keep the muscles under tension. Don't come up, lock out, and wait. The longer that the arms are locked out and the body is stopped, the muscles aren't working anymore, okay? The tension is gone. You're supporting yourself from your skeletal frame, and it's not working out. It's resting, okay? Try to shorten that up so that you're still constantly moving through the entire duration of the exercise. And this is how you're going to get the fastest results. Okay, guys, we've just covered the big push and the squat. Now, it doesn't matter what we are going to throw at you over the course of this program. You guys should be prepared at this point. Apply what you know through these. Look at the alignment, look at the structure, the principles of how to protect your knees, how to engage the bigger muscles instead of putting stress in the joints, the shoulders, and the knees. And you should be able to adapt to anything new that comes your way. Okay? Let's get to that protocol.